Chilling up in the kingdom, chilling with Yahweh Shai and all the brothers and the sisters, cooling out, having fun, drinking yayan with Yahweh Shai up in the kingdom, yeah.
Who are we? Israel! That who are we? Israel! Can't hear you.
Israel.
Who's the power?
Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai's the power.
I said, who's the power?
Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai.
Shalom. Welcome to another live class. We're here at 231 FM 1092, Stafford, Texas. We have class every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. The class times and days are on the screen. We have a few other locations. We are in Virginia. We're in San Antonio. We're in Rochester. Again, the locations and class times are on the screen, so please, when you get a chance, check those out. All right. You're watching us here live on YouTube. We have a few other channels. Okay, she's gonna put all that on the screen. We have the ISBHPK Houston. We have the Hidden Truth Bible channel, the Israelite Media Corp. We have the ISBHPK Kids channel, which they go live every Sunday at 1 o'clock for kids class. So if you got kids that are, I can't find my word. If you have kids that are 12 and under, feel free to, if you're local, come to class, bring them. If not, have them tune in live every Sunday at 1 p.m. All right. They do the Blog Talk Radio out in Albuquerque, Mashaba, and Banabad, and a few of the other brothers. They take turns with different topics. Some real good topics also for that Blog Talk Radio. You can catch it at blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba every Tuesday, Thursday at 10 a.m. We have coming up the Feast of Pentecost. All right, that's really the new announcement. That's coming up January the 11th, which is this weekend, this Saturday. So we'll be having class, then we'll be having the feast later on that night. Again, if you're local and you want to be a part of the feast, just hit us up, hit me up, and come one, come all. As long as you come with a good spirit, none of that contention, none of that backbiting, none of that murmuring, we'll be welcome to have you. All right. So that's the feast. We have a few businesses that we want to let you know about. We have Israelware. Okay, you can check that out at isbhpk.com. If you go there, you'll see all the different things that we're doing. You'll see Israelware. Under Israelware, you'll see Fringed Up. That's our monthly subscription where you get a shirt and a headband every month, different design, different color. The shirt is $35. If you want to do the shirt only, the shirt and headband is $75. All right, so that's Israelware/Fringed Up. We have Sweet Ambiance. All right, that's our business that we have in a few of the malls in the different cities that we're in. And you can check it out at sweetambiance.com, or you can go to isbhpk.com and you'll see a Sweet Ambiance tab as you scroll down. We got the subscription box with Sweet Ambiance, different categories. So make sure you check that out. Share the business with your friends and family. It's a good way to help support the school. All right. We got Hebrew Academy in the different cities. We have Houston every Tuesday, Rochester every Monday, and Virginia every Wednesday. So if you want to be a part of Hebrew Academy and you're local, feel free. Feel free to hit us up, let us know. Hebrew Academy is important if you want to learn how to do your street teaching. You want to learn how to street teach the right way and not just yell at people? What'd you say, Mike? What'd you say yesterday, Mike, in the Hebrew Academy? You said they was just yelling at people, not teaching them? Yeah, bashing them, right? If you want to learn how to eloquently dismember a person, but still keep them intact enough to be able to teach them, come to Hebrew Academy, we'll show you how to do it. I'm just joking, we're not dismembering people, right? That's impossible. But we are, remember, we're here to free the captives, preach the gospel, right? Heal the sick, all those wonderful things, right? Con? So that's what you call Hebrew Academy, brothers. Like, hell nah. We want to break people. We want to break people, right? You want to break them? If they die, they die. Right? So that's Hebrew Academy. Again, if you're local, feel free to join Houston, Virginia, Rochester. We have them at the school on those respective days. If you need to contact anyone, you can contact me here in Houston. My number is 303-557-8979. Got Priest Zakia, he's in Virginia. His number is 757-300-4047. We will be swapping for a month. I'll be in Virginia next month. He'll be here. I've been telling y'all. So look out for that. This is what we got to do. It's what we got to do to keep making sure that everything's rolling right. We swap between Rochester, Virginia, Houston. Right now, Zainala is in Rochester holding that down. So me and Kazak, we are going to, me and Priest Kazakia, we're going to switch for a month. Any donations that you want to give, the flyer is up on the screen. If you can give, please help out. There's many ways to do it. Monetarily, things that we need for the school, not to put the brother on the spot, but I mentioned that we wanted to get a TV in the sanctuary for class purposes, and the brother went and got 2 TVs. So, I mean, whatever you can give to help is much appreciated. It's not just money, your time, if there's books, whatever resources you can bring, it's appreciated. But we definitely need the help. That's it for the announcements, right? Is that everything? Same stuff? I wanted to go over this class. Is the title up there? I titled the class, you can title it whatever you want. I titled it Got Talents. You know like the Got Milk commercials? Right? It's like Got Milk, and they had the white mustache. Well, I titled this one Got Talents. And there was a question that was asked. Somebody give me, 2 Timothy 4? Give me 2 Timothy, I believe it's 2 Timothy 4:14. And I got this scripture in here, but I kind of wanted to give you the basis of why this class came about. It should say neglect not the gifts. 2 Timothy 4:14. Or is it 1 Timothy? Yeah, go to 1 Timothy 4:14.
1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 14.
Right?
Neglect not the gift that is in thee,
Right?
which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery.
Right, the presbytery, go ahead. The elders, go ahead.
Meditate upon these things.
Right, so one of the sisters had asked a question about the gifts, like how do you know your gift, right? And really, I kind of went about it. I'll be honest, I forgot how I answered the question. It was what, 2 weeks ago? About a week ago, but I already forgot. But I felt that that it would have been a good class topic because we all, man, woman, I think we all wrestle with this question at some point or another. So it was her question. Then there was another. There was something that I read. It was a text message that I read that someone sent someone, and I'm actually going to read y'all the text message. Not right now, but I'm going to read it to y'all. But it was based on the same talent situation. You know, my talent. What is my talent? I'm not good at things, right? So I put together this class because I wanted to really just go through and, you know, talk about talents and does everybody have one? If you don't have one, then what? If you do have one, how do you know what it is? So let's go to Matthews. Let's go to Matthews. And we're going to start. And y'all know how to do, you know the deal. Any questions on the topic, raise your hand. Go to Matthew 25. Any questions? Raise your hand. Y'all can interject, y'all know. We're here to learn. But I felt like this was a good class for especially a lot of the young sisters. The new sisters in the truth. I feel like this is a good topic because, you know, just coming back into reality of what life should be and what the roles, the man's role, the woman's role in the truth, in the body, in the wisdom, what that should be. You know, a lot of the times, a lot of women are, what's the word? They're like swayed away from the truth because they think what? Like, oh, it's just about cooking and cleaning. Right? That's all a woman is good for, is cooking, cleaning, and walking around the kitchen barefoot with pregnant. Right? Now, that does happen. But is that, that does happen, right? You cook, you clean, sister's been having babies left and right, right? But is that what your life is reduced to? Nah. There's a lot more to do in the truth than just cook for your own house, clean for your own house, and have babies all day, right? So, again, just wanted to go through this topic. If you were ever wondering, like the sister was, you know, how do you know your talent? How do you know what your talent is? If you were ever wondering, what is my talent? Well, let's deal with it. Let's talk about it and wonder no more. Matthew 25 and 14, read it. So let's establish this point right here, that everyone's given a talent, no matter what. There's no one that's just talentless. There's no one that's just talentless. Everyone has a talent. Everyone's given some gift. Spiritually, physically. There's something that's been given to each and every one of us. It's just a matter of how is that going to be brought forth? How do you realize what your talent is? So let's go to Matthew 25:14. Read that.
Matthew chapter 25, verse 14.
Right?
For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country,
Go ahead.
who called his own servants
Go ahead.
and delivered unto them.
Right, so we're the servants. Right? We're the servants, and what was delivered to the servants?
His goods.
Right?
And unto one he gave 5 talents.
Go ahead.
To another 2. And to another 1.
Uh-huh.
To every man according.
To what?
To every man according.
To some men?
To every man.
So every man is given a talent. You may get 1, you may get 2, you may get 5, you may get 10. But every man and woman, child, is given something to be able to bring forth. Think about it. Wouldn't it be messed up if the Most High said, I command you to bring forth fruit? That he don't give you the supplies to be able to bring forth fruit? Like I need you to make these crops grow. No soil, no seed, no no backhoe, no water, right? How you gonna make anything grow? So the tools, the gifts are given. What's the problem with, what's the issue with just venturing into anything and being commanded to make something come forth? Well, when you're new, you don't know how to make that water work. You don't know how to make the backhoe. You don't know how much soil. You don't know how to use the instruments that have been given to you. That's the problem. Not that you don't have it. You just don't know what you have and what it does. Too much water can kill something, right? But too much water, or water brings life, but it can also kill. Sunlight. Sunlight can kill, but sunlight can bring life. It's about knowing how to use what?
Even like the plant that you gave your extra card, we were killing it, and I learned that it needs like warm water and not cold water. It's killing the cold water.
The aloe plant?
No, the other one.
Oh, yeah, they're tropical plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never put cold water on plants. You'll freeze the roots.
Learned that
Yep.
quick.
Yeah, you'll kill the plant with cold water, like things like that. Good room temperature or warm water goes on plants. Why? To keep those roots nice and warm. They like that humidity, right? So water is not a bad thing. It's, am I using the water the wrong way? So read on.
According to his several ability.
Right, according to his several ability. Several ability just means what you're capable of handling. So if I got one talent, that's what I'm capable of handling. If I got 5 talents, that's what I'm capable of handling. But does that mean that that's all you'll ever be capable of? What do y'all think? No, right? Because, I mean, y'all know the story. What happens? Well, the man that had 1 flip, or no, the one that had 5 flip got 10. The one that had, the only cat that didn't was the one that had 1. Because he was sitting back like, damn, that's all I got. I only got this one thing to offer. He wasn't thinking, wait a minute. Let me take this one thing and make it into many things. Like the men that had 5, the men that had 4, the men that had 3. But the point that I wanted to get to here was that everybody, the Most High gives everybody a talent. Everybody some type of gift that, what is the gift for? What is the talents for? What do y'all think? Anybody? Benaiah, you got your hand halfway up. Remember, we're friends today. We're all friends here, right? We're all friends. Right? Sit on my couch, get my clipboard, right? We're all friends. Go ahead, what?
To use them to help the people around you, like people around you,
Okay,
or the body.
right? Right, your talents are your gifts that you've been given. Really, they're there to benefit others. What's that?
I think of it like a corporation where everybody has a position and everybody is basically, you're I don't know, HR, you're the one who does the billing, you're the one who does the hiring, and so everybody specializes in one thing to help this one company succeed. So that's us, like, everybody's good at one thing to help the body.
Right. Everybody has that one specific thing that it's like, oh, that brother, go to him for that. Right? Go to him for this. Go to her for that. She knows how to handle this. But at the same time, does that mean that she's the only one or he's the only one that knows anything about that field or that situation? No. You know, the thing with Israel is we know everything. Right? Israel knows how to be a mechanic. Israel knows how to be doctors. They ain't never been to doctor school. I'm guilty. I ain't never been to mechanic school. I act like I know everything. I don't know a damn thing. I just know how to change some oil. That's it. And I barely even remember that. But you know how Israel can be. Jack of all trades, masters of none. Right? Which is not always a good thing because you can't know everything about everything just because you know a little bit about something. But there are specific people that they know again, if we had to deal with mechanic skills, I'm gonna go to Derek. I'm gonna get his opinion over Locker Rob's opinion, or even my own, because that's what he's in. That's his field. That's what he's dealing with. You see what I'm saying? If it was at the time when you was doing the loss prevention, if I needed a bodyguard, he'd be the first guy I went and got, because he moved like a bodyguard at one point. He still kind of does, right? I wouldn't go to Mike. I'm gonna go to him, right? If it was dough making, I'd probably hit up Mike, because that's what he was doing at a point. Like, everybody had things that they were doing, and I'm using these little jobs, obviously, but expand your mind out and really think about like gifts and talents outside of like a job you've been taught. Some people's gifts are to fix things, where you're not just a mechanic on cars, but you can fix anything you put your hand to. You just know the mechanics of things. You just know how things are supposed to work, and when they're broken, you can pinpoint and say, oh, I can see where the breach is, and MacGyver anything together, like good as new. You know, the loss prevention. You got your whole name almost based off of that, right? McGunn. What is that, shield? Yeah, but he moves like a shield, right? He's like the guy that's gonna cover you. But think about it. His spirit, that talent, goes far beyond protecting SD cards for fries. What's that? Oh, you got. I thought you had something to say. Right? So you see, our talents. The Most High puts us in these positions with these gifts that you have, and you might just get a job that fits your gift. And that job is bringing it out. And, you know, we tend to get stuck. Like, think about a woman that works in an office, and we look at like the receptionist job. And, oh, she's just a receptionist. She just answers phones, right? But they do a lot more than just answer phones. They answer phones to take down messages, to deliver messages, right? They organize. They have a lot of things organized and ready. So that woman's gift is going to be her organization skills. It's not just that she's answering phones. It's all the different parts of that job that are necessary, because she helps everybody else function without having to worry about organization. So her gift can be, oh wait, she might just be an organized person. That's why she fits that job so well. So, you know, expand your brains. I want y'all to think about yourselves. I know some of y'all are probably thinking like, what is my gift? What is my talent? Right? And some of us probably have already realized our gift and our talent. And that might just be one of them. Remember, he gave some 1, 3, 5, right? So am I looking at myself and am I boxing myself in? Am I looking at myself and saying, man, I can flip this talent, I can grow? Am I looking at myself and saying, wait a minute, I don't want just this talent, I want his talent, I want her talent, I want to take his talent, right? I want to be able to do I want to be multifaceted, right? That has to be the mind state. But I want to establish the point that we all been given something. Don't discredit yourselves because you haven't realized it yet, right? Right. So from there, did you read on? Read verse. Did you finish it? You finished 15?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
And straightway took his journey.
Right.
Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same.
Where you at?
Verse 16.
No. Okay, so stop right there. Go to 1 Corinthians 7 and verse 7. So just dealing with this point that everybody got a gift. Everybody got a gift. Who said that? Who said that? In what movie was like, everybody got a gift? What was that? Husband Flow. What movie was that? He like, everybody got a gift. What movie was that? I don't remember.
Everybody got a plan until they get hit in the mouth?
No, not that. That was Mike Tyson. No, not that. It was like some movie. He's like, everybody got a gift, right? But it's real. Everybody does have a gift. But because it hasn't been realized yet, does that mean that you're giftless? Does that mean that you're talentless? No. You might be discounting your gift. It might be one of the best gifts to have, and you might be looking at your gift like, my gift ain't good enough because it's not this person's gift or that person's gift. Well, do you sit back, sulk about the gift, or do you do what the Bible says? So read that, 1 Corinthians 7:7.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 7. For I would that all men were even as I myself.
Right?
But every man have his proper gift.
See, every man has his proper gift. What was Paul's gift that he was talking about here? Who knows? What's that?
About not having a wife.
Yeah.
Staying celibate.
Yeah, he became a eunuch. All right? He had the gift to say, you know what? I'm going to be a eunuch, celibate, no women. You got to be gifted. Because that ain't my gift. I ain't going to lie. Like, that ain't, I ain't going to front. There was a time when I was like, y'all would be like Paul and do all these, lie. That ain't my gift. That ain't, if there's one gift I know I don't got, that's that. Okay? So, but what is he showing us? That that's something that got to be, we don't know what Paul's past life was as far as women. Don't really go into it. But we don't talk about him having kids, wife, anything like that. But think about that gift. Think about Yahweh Shai. You never read about him having a woman, right? So think about the gift that he had to not have that focus on women, but to focus on the mission. That's a gift. Because is the gift really to stay away from women, or is the gift the focus? The gift is the pinpoint focus. To not let distractions, and I'm not calling the sisters distractions, but in what they were doing, to not have, it's funny, I was watching this, man, it's crazy. I was watching this video about blacks in Mexico just now, on the way up. This whole black community in Mexico, darker than you, darker than me. They dark. I'm talking about darker. They tell you, they call them Afro-Mexicanas, right? Afro-Mexicans. But the one dude in the city, he was the only black dude there. What it was, he moved in when he was 5 with his aunt. So he never left. He stayed there, Spanish on 10, everything, right? But he said, they asked him, the dude was asking, he said, what about the women? Are they, you got a wife and kids? He said, nah, I don't got that. And he was like, well, so what is it, your skin color? Why the women don't want to deal with you? He said, bro, the women here love black men. I mean, he's the only one. He said, the women always try to come at him. But he said, I can't have those responsibilities because of my spirituality. I'm on a mission, right? So the gift was, like even that man's gift, to not dibble and dab into the women and the children. The gift was, well, I got to stay focused, right? It wasn't that the women were a distraction or the kids were a distraction or negative. It was just the gift of having that eye single to the point of no return. To the point where now, you know what, I don't even need this in my life because I'm going to have to give my energy to that. That's the gift. That pinpoint, precise mind. That thought, what we read in Matthew 6 about that eye just being laser sharp, single on the prize. Right? Paul said, listen, I wish everybody had that gift. But then also the gift to not have to let your loins be an issue. He said every man got their proper gift. So what are we learning? That everybody got a gift. Right? Y'all with me? Right. So, next point. What if my talent is not apparent right away? Apparent means seen. What if I don't see my talent right away coming into the truth? Or what if I'm in my 30s and I don't see my talent? What if I'm in my 40s and I don't see my talent? But the most important thing is, if I'm in the truth and I'm not seeing my talent right away, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're talentless? No, it means that everything takes time. It's just like when brothers come into the truth and they hear all the powerful Hebrew names and they're like, oh, I want one. This is how I answered your question about the names. I remember now. And brothers will come in and they want a Hebrew name, and it's like, okay, just give us a moment. Let us see what your spirit is like. Because we named according to the spirit. Right? And you'll have men that'll come in with a name, and we're like, Zerubbabel don't fit you. Right? Zerubbabel ain't shit like Zerubbabel. My dear brother Zionala, right? When he first came, and he wasn't really rocking by that name, but when the name thing came up, he was like, well, the brother that was teaching you before, he kind of gave you the name of Zerubbabel. And me and Kazan looked at each other like, nah, bro, you ain't no Zerubbabel. Hell nah. You're not Zerubbabel. That don't fit his spirit. The type of moves and the type of man that Zionala is, y'all all know Zion. He was a mover and a shaker, right? He's a drill sergeant. He gets things done, right? He can be put in place in many different places and adapt. So Zion, the weapon, right? We call him the lethal weapon because that's how he moves, like a cold, calculated weapon, right? But Zerubbabel, we're like, oh, nah, that ain't it, right? So you have those situations where it takes time for these things to come out of us. It takes time. It takes situations, right? The scriptures say, prove a friend. How long does it take to prove a person?
6 months.
Huh?
6 months to a year
Ooh.
or longer.
Listen. Let me ask y'all a question. Okay, I'll do it like this. When did the Most High stop proving me? Now, I've been here for a while. He ain't never stopped. The proving, and I use me because I got the longest tenure here, right? The proving never stops. So the spiritual searching of what a person's spirit is, it never stops because we're supposed to be constantly growing. Now your spirit is what it's going to be, right? I'm Quadazah, angry fire, destruction, calling down brimstone from heaven, right? That's me, right? With a smile. Ding, right? My gun. He's the shield. Lakarab, he's the fighter, right? All these different names that have been given, you won't stray away from that, but you'll be able to grow on top of it, add things to it, right? So if it doesn't come out, my talent right away, well, that means that I got to allow myself to be proven what's in me, right? The Most High got to prove me, right? Right. But what tends to happen? What tends to happen when you don't see things right away and you don't know when it's going to come? What do people tend to do? What?
Lose faith.
They lose faith. Yeah, that's definitely. They get faithless. What else? And then what happens after faith and all these things are lost? What? You give up. You give up prematurely. You give up. Well, giving up is quitting premature. That is premature. But you give up before things can be realized. Right? A lot of people you'll never realize who you are and what you're capable of because we've been put in situations where we gave up. We were taught to give up. We were taught not to complete things, not to see things through. Why? Is it because it's taken too long? Well, that's one aspect. Is it because, what else? What?
Pain, hurts.
Woo! It hurts. It takes long. It's painful. Right? I don't understand why I got to feel like this just to figure out who I am. Well, improving someone, where do you prove a person? In the good times when we all eating and drinking? Right? They say a friend will be a friend for his own occasion. Right? A friend will be there when it's time to crack bottles. A friend will be there when it's time to eat, when it's time to drink, when it's time to kick it. But the real proving of a person is when? Through the trials, through the tribulations. And not just those things. It don't got to be trials and tribulations. Think about it. When you're learning. Isn't that growing pains when you learn? When you got to sit back and learn from a person and they got to correct you. Some people don't want to go through that. They're like, ooh. She gonna have to correct me? I don't want to be around her. Right? I'm gonna go learn on the internet. Right? Think about it. Think about it. Ivy, did you know how to sew before you got to the school?
No.
Right. So you had to sit down and do what?
Learn.
You had to learn from the sisters that knew how to sew, right? Or which was all the sisters that came before you. So, but think about it. Were there correction moments?
No.
Yeah. But see, a lot of people don't want to go through those moments of the correction, of sitting underneath the tutelage, of being told, no, right now, what you're producing isn't good enough. Constructive criticism, right? There's nothing wrong with being told right now what you're doing is not good enough. What's the point of that? What's the point of telling a person, you know what, right now, at your level, that's not good enough. That fringe that you put on needs to be corrected. What's the importance of that?
It's because they can see that you can be better.
Right? Because there could be things could be done better. What else? Maintaining the standard. Think more on the person that's bringing forth the product. If I go what? Go ahead.
Say the person that's learning,
Right.
They don't take the correction. They would think that their way is how it's supposed to be done.
They would think that their way is how it's supposed to be done, the standard, right? Or they wouldn't understand that they can grow and that the way they're doing, if there's a mistake, they're going to continue in their mistake. That's the whole point of correction, is that you're making a mistake. But think about it. People run from correction. So what do they continually do? You ever know those people that make year after year, they're in the same bind? Year after year, they're breaking up. They get with somebody, get pregnant, break up with that person. Then the next year, they get with somebody, get pregnant, break up with that person. 5 years later, 5 kids, 5 baby daddies. It happens, right? It happens to the man or you got a man, he meet a new chick, baby, break up, problems, divorce, meet a new chick, baby, and they repeat that cycle. You're not letting nobody. And then when you try to say, well, you know what, you got to pick them better. They're like, no, I ain't trying to hear all that. Picking them better. These chicks are just garbage. And it's like, well, how good are you if you picking garbage? And then you try to counsel them and they just disannul your whole thing. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to be corrected. They don't want to be corrected. And what do? Well, you ain't doing no better. They start pointing the finger, right? But what gets done? What gets accomplished? And I'm kind of veering a little bit, just showing y'all, one way to let your talents be diminished. This is one way to let the things that are in the gifts that the Most High gives us, the talents. It's one way to have those things diminish. When you look at the world, they all got talent in the world. But think about the talents that are being pushed. It's all physical. My baby's talented. He's going to be a linebacker. Just because the baby can't come out 10 pounds, that's an automatic football player in the eyes of the world. Just because he came out longer than 19 inches, he's going to be a basketball player. Just because he's 13 with a size 13 shoe, he got to play sports. That's his talent automatically. Nothing else is nurtured, right? Ain't that the mind of our people? Just because he did a little shuffle on the video back when he was 5, he going to be the next Usher, the next Ursher, right? And those things are nurtured, but everything else is diminished. Nothing else is being put into that person. Because our people hate correction. That's one. We hate being told that we're not doing things the correct way. That's 2. We always want to get our way. That's 3. We always think we're right. That's 4. So all those things, they're going to mask your true potential. But that's all this really is how do we bring out a person's true potential? How do we bring out what's really in them? Well, the proving ground you got to go through, that gotta be there. Y'all see that? So that has to be there. And then we got to realize that every black person it's like, I sometimes fall into this little mistake of thinking and boxing ourselves in, where, what's the first thing you think about When a black man tells you his son went to college or goes to college, what you think?
And he went out for sports.
Bam. Damn. We always automatically think it's sports and not academics. I ain't gonna front. I was in the mall like maybe last week, and one of the bros that be buying oils, he came up. He was like, "Yeah, man, my son, he about to go to da-da-da-da." And I was like, I said something to the tune of like, "What is he like? What sport does he play?" And we were talking sports before that, so I'm just going along with the convo. He's like, "Oh no, he ain't playing sports. It's for academics." And I was like, "That's what's up." His dad played football, but he didn't have his son. I'm like, "Cool, that's what's up." Like, it don't always got to be because we go do school or college that we got to be getting a scholarship and doing sports. But we always box ourselves into one gift. The black man is good for running and jumping, right? That's it. He's singing and dancing, shucking and jiving. That's it. We can't think. We can't problem solve. I was listening to Stephen A. Smith, right? And Kendrick Perkins, if you know who they are, they're sports reporters. But they were bringing out a stat that there's 32 NBA teams. There's 32 teams. Guess how many black coaches there are out of 32 teams? Yep. Nope. Half. About 15 black coaches. Now, 2 years ago, there was like 2 or 3. Like 2 years ago, there were like 2 or 3. Within the last 2 years, they hired about 10 to 12 black coaches. Right? But what does that show? Because coaching is what? You're not physically out there playing. What are you doing when you the coach? Mentally. So it's showing that we can go beyond just running and jumping. We can now think and articulate the game to the next man and teach them. Right? But for so long, we were always boxed in as what? The players. The runners, the gunners. The muscle. The brawn, not the brain. What's that?
Yeah, they didn't even let us play quarterback.
Even quarterback.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, that's another thing. There's what? How many black quarterbacks, like Rob?
That's a good amount.
There's a good amount, right? What is it? 30-something teams?
Yeah.
Probably 10 black quarterbacks, maybe more.
Maybe about 15.
Maybe about 15. And remember, we comprise like 75% of these sports leagues, or more, minimum 75%. But to play quarterback, to have a black quarterback, remember Randall Cunningham, Warren Moon, because that was a thinking man's position. So to play that, you have to be white, right? The black man is just good for catching the ball and running through a bunch of other black men, and that's all we were talented at. But what am I? I'm using even the world of sports and the world to show you that we gotta break out of just being boxed into one thing, right? They're fighting to be more talented. What are you fighting for? Do you even realize that there's multiple talents out there? There's multiple spiritual gifts to be had. Do y'all realize that? Okay, well, let's go through it. Go to 1 Corinthians 12 and 1. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1. Read 1 and then jump down to verse 4.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1.
Right?
Now, concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Verse 4. Now, there are diversities of gifts.
See that? There's diversities of gifts. Go ahead.
But the same Spirit.
But they all work for the same Spirit. Or they should. Go ahead.
And there are differences of administration.
Right.
But the same Lord.
Go ahead.
And there are diversities of operations. But it is the same God.
So what's that saying? Well, everybody's going to be able to do everything, but what are you particularly good at? All the sisters in here sew, right? But is every sister on the same level of sewing? All the sisters cook. Is every sister on the same level of cooking? All the brothers read. But is every brother reading at the same level? No. Right? Everyone has their particular gift. One brother might be better at reading. One might be better at holding posts. One might be a better studier. Right? One might have a better retention, memory. My memory's shot. So I steal all y'all's memory. What scripture is that? Right? Where's that at? Right? Because my memory's shot. I used to have a real great memory bit, like scripturally. It just fly off. But now I'm like, man, where's that one at? Right? What book? I know the book, but I forget the verse. Right? Now I got to picture it in my Bible. That's how my mind works now. I'm able to picture it in my Bible on the side and the page, and oh, it's there. Right? But I steal y'all's memory. You got a younger memory than me. He got a younger memory. So I'm gonna use all the young cats' memory. I'm gonna cover y'all's memory, right? While trying to work on mine, doing things to work on mine. But there's a diversity. Go ahead.
Which worketh all in all.
Go ahead.
But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man.
To some men.
Every man.
Go ahead.
To profit withal.
You see that? All these gifts, these manifestations of things are given to every man to profit. Go ahead, read on.
For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom. To another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit. To another faith by the same Spirit. To another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit. To another, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, discerning of spirits. To another, diverse kind of tongues. To another, the interpretation of tongues. But all these working that one and the self same Spirit.
You see that? Go ahead.
Dividing to every man severally as he will.
Right. Did y'all catch that? He said doing what to every man?
All these worketh at one and the self same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will.
Yeah. All these different gifts are based on your willingness to receive said gifts. You see that? It's about that willingness to learn. The willingness to put yourself in position to be able to gather up the gifts. The gifts are there, but you got to put yourself in position to gather. So you got to have your basket empty, ready to learn. So think about it. Who in here when they came in knew how to, I'm just using the certain like little things that y'all do. Who came in here knowing how to sew before you came in? Okay. Just one. Okay, Rosa. But didn't you have to kind of relearn how to do it? Add what you know, but then do it so it fits our style, the Israelite style, right? And then now as y'all been doing it, isn't there growth in it? Like I can give you one example. I remember I went to go drop the kids off the other day, and I had on a shirt. And Laura, she looked at the side of the shirt and she said, "That looks real good." They stepped their game up. And I was like, "Oh yeah, they're using that bias tape." I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about. I'm like, "Yeah, that's that bias tape, sis. They on point over there, right?" But there was a time, the bias tape is when they send y'all the Israel wear shirts on the side, it's a tape they sew on so that the shirt doesn't fray out, right? Right, and it gives it a real nice, clean look. There was a time when they weren't using that because that wasn't something that was thought of, right? But as they grew in their sewing departments, somebody came with the idea this is gonna make it look clean and this is gonna make the shirt last long, and everybody adopted it. But it wasn't there when they were sewing in the beginning, so there was growth in that. What's that?
For example, we used to bedazzle the studs instead of actually pounding it and putting it. The headband would have been all shiny.
Oh, y'all glued them on?
The bedazzle, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nah, see, I like
my brothers
this.
were like, "Whoa, sis." So if you see one of those, you'll probably be like, "This is trash." But we definitely.
But the growth, the growth, because it wasn't like they didn't know how to do things, but there was always a growth. There was always building on that talent, right? So where are we at? Where'd you read down to?
Verse 12.
You read down to verse 12. Go to 1 Corinthians. Stay in 12. I want you to jump down to 28.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 28.
Read it.
And God hath set some in the church.
Right?
First apostles.
Right?
Secondarily prophets.
Go ahead.
Thirdly teachers.
Read.
After that miracles.
Come on.
Then gifts of healings.
Right?
Helps.
You
Governments.
see that? Helps, governments. There's all these different gifts and talents that are out there. Go ahead.
Diversity of tongues.
Read.
Are all apostles.
Now, the question is this. Is everybody a teacher? Go ahead.
Are all prophets.
Is everybody that got the ability to prophesy? Now he's breaking down the gifts and saying, wait a minute, does everybody have the same gift? Go ahead.
Are all teachers.
Read.
Are all workers of miracles.
I'll answer the question, no. Everyone's not an apostle. Everybody wasn't a teacher. Everybody wasn't the gift of healing. Everyone didn't have the same talent. Some of them were given 1. Some were given 3. Some were given 8, 10, 5. Some had all those gifts. Some were just a good teacher. That's all he had. He was a good teacher, but he wasn't a good leader. Right? You got oh damn, he's a good orator, but he can get the people together, but he's not a good leader. He can gather them, but he can't lead them. That's a talent. Go ahead.
Have all the gifts of healing.
Read.
Do all speak with tongues.
Right?
Do all interpret.
No, they don't. Now, I want to read this text message. I'm not going to say who it came from. I'm not going to say who it was sent to, but there are going to be some names in this text message. Your name's in it, your name's in it, and it's not bad. But I got to use this. I got to read this text message because it goes to the point of what the class is coming out. So this text was sent. You're going to know that it's a sister that sent it. So let's see here. Where do I start? So I'm going to start here. It says the only thing I'm good at is following. You give me something and tell me or show me how to do it, I'll get it done. I have no talents. I'm not good at being a leader, being a counselor, being creative, being a mother. I couldn't even, where's that? Let's go here. I can't come up with things, check this out. I can't come up with things and bring things to life the way Shara, Shalomaya, Shavashana, Amawana can. I have no creative bone in my body to do anything. My brain just doesn't operate the way others do. Now, I wanted to read a little piece of that because, first of all, what do y'all think when y'all hear something like that? What?
When I hear that,
Yeah.
is that I feel that way sometimes too.
Oh, see, that's why we got to go over this class. Okay, so you feel like that sometimes too. So you're seeing the sisters around you operate a certain way, and you're feeling like you're not equipped like them, right? Basically, okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that until you don't continue the thought into the next thing. What else? Shawashana.
Maybe one of the ones that were mentioned.
Yeah.
To me, like, that sister must not really know me because I didn't start. And mind you, I'm not creative either. I cannot create nothing for the life of me. I know how to look up things and change them to fit the truth. I don't know.
That's a talent.
Yeah, like, and I make garments all the time, and I cannot create nothing. But she doesn't know where I started and how I got myself. Because I'm the same way. So the mind is the creative one. Most I bless me with someone who does that for me because I can't.
But you can bring the creation to life.
Yeah, and she says, "Here, I got it." But she must not know how I started how I pushed myself to somewhat get it done.
And that's part of the point. that's part of the point is the talents are being looked at, but the inception, the beginning of where the talents came from is not understood. How did this person become creative? Now, there was one thing that was said in here that I'm like, okay, see, this person is discrediting themselves. The only thing that I'm good at is following. That's one of the greatest talents in the world. Because so many people are terrible at it. It's a talent. It's literally a gift for a woman to be able to follow her husband, or just to follow. Ain't that what the Bible says? Right? A continent, nothing, there's no worth, anything, a woman, a continent mind. Right? A woman that follows. So, discounting your gift, not realizing that everybody's given something, there's diversities. Are all creative? Right? Are all followers? Are all faithful? Are all forbearing? Are all endeavoring? No. But you do have something. You got something to offer that can be built on. You can build a follower. If that person is guided the right way, and you add the different things to that person, they could be a tremendous person. But you got to sit back and say, well, I know what my gift is, but I'm going to discount it like it's not worth anything. To highlight other people's gifts, that's not the way to do it. You disqualify yourself just in that thought process. You'll never let that gift of following, you'll never let it expand into anything else because you don't look at it as something important. You won't be able to get the creativeness in you because you're not looking at, wait a minute, I got to follow the creative people. Right? So I wanted to read that, not to put sisters on blast, but to show y'all how some of y'all think. Sure, what?
I was going to say,
Right.
I was 16 and didn't know how to do anything when I came in.
Right. She said she was 16 and didn't know how to do anything when she came in. Right?
And I was a child, so all I could do was do my best to follow and be willing to learn.
Right. That the spirit to follow, it's very important. That is one of the greatest gifts. Everything else, creative, this, that, all those carnal things don't matter. Right? They still are gifts. But the ability to be led, right? That's hella important. Right? So go to James. You can't discount your gift. If it's one thing, don't discount it like it's garbage. Like this person that sent this message. You can't discount what the Most High has given to you. He gave it to you for a reason. Read James chapter 1 and verse 17.
James chapter 1, verse 17.
Right?
Every good gift and every perfect gift
right?
is from above.
Yeah. Come on, man. That ability to follow, that ability to be creative, just the ability to recognize that you got a gift. Your eyes have been opened a little bit. The ability to understand situation. The ability to have the foresight to foresee evil. Don't discount that as, that's all I'm good at. He said every good gift. That's from the Most High. What's that?
I realized over the years of me being a leader, the best wingman, the best right hand is the ones that know how to just do that, follow.
Yeah.
Just do exactly what I say. And then because because you can do what I say and you're always with me, then you learn everything. So then therefore all you have to do is just do it.
Yeah. And then you are. We're going to get into that point. Right? We're going to get into that point because that's what is not being realized. Well, first of all, let's realize everybody got gifts. The Most High gives everybody a gift, but don't discredit your gift if you do know what it is. Don't treat it like the man that had one talent and buried it. oh, I'm just a good follower. Boo-hoo. Everybody else is better than me. I suck. Don't treat it like the man that buried his talent. Because what happened? When it was time for him to produce, he couldn't even produce that one talent.
Right.
He couldn't even use that one talent. He buried it. Well, where's the profit from what I gave you? I stopped following because I didn't think it was important. Ain't that what happens? You're a good follower. You're good at following and taking orders. You give a person, she said it, you give me something, I'll do it. But if you don't see how important that is, what happens? Well, you buried that, so now when you're given something, what do you do with it? I ain't following that. I ain't doing that no more. You lost the one thing that you were good at. That could have propelled you further. Read on.
And cometh down from the Father of lights,
Read.
with whom is no variableness.
Variableness means changing. The gift and the talents don't change, you change. You diminish the gift by not nurturing. Right? Remember, neglect not the gift that is in thee. You make the gift change because you neglected it. We make our talents and the good things that the Most High rains down on us. We make them we make them variable. All of a sudden, you're good at following, now you're just a terrible follower. You were a great leader, now you're just a terrible leader. You were a great orator now, because you didn't look at it as something important. But now you're a terrible orator. And all the other things that come along with just slacking off on your talents and your gifts. Now you slothful. Now you don't want to do it. Now you lose confidence. Now you condemn yourself. All these things start to happen to a person. Go ahead.
Neither shadow of turning.
Yeah, man. The gifts that the Most High gives us don't vary. They don't vary and they don't turn. 1 minute it's this and then the next minute it's that. It's us. That we have the variableness in us. We change. We the two-faced ones, right? We two-faced it, man. Think about it. Just think about it. Think about a person that got talent. Who they say is a talented basketball player? They say that who's the most talented? That no.
Kevin Durant.
Talent
Oh,
would be
you
like
said-
LeBron.
Oh.
Talent would be like a LeBron, right? But think about it. If he just went off of talent and then put work in to nurture his talents, what would LeBron be? We wouldn't be talking about him. He'd just be another 6'9" guy that can sometimes play good. If he didn't work out and treat his body and put all that money into his body, right? He wouldn't be playing for 20 years. He would have had a 15-year career. Right? So talent is there, but then you gotta put something along with that talent. It changes, the talents diminish because of what we don't do. Right? Again, LeBron, talented dude. He could pass, he could shoot, he could play defense, he could play all 5 positions on that court. But didn't he have to nurture those talents? I remember, listen, I was the guy that lived off the top, being talented, being athletic. I didn't lift no weights. I didn't listen. Me and S.O.W was in the gym the other day, and I was like, we were looking at ourselves in the mirror. We got pumped up, right? We did a bunch of pull-ups and arms feeling all swole. We feeling like mini little Arnold Schwarzeneggers, right? But then we looked at ourselves. We were like, yeah, that ain't it. Right? Feeling swole, but then we looked like, oh nah. Remember? And I was like, man, remember them days when you could just come into the gym, not stretch, lift the whole, like leg press the whole 700 pounds. 100 times, jump on the court, play ball, eat bad, and not even feel a cramp, not even feel tired. And he was like, yeah, I remember that. We were running off pure talent and athleticism. But if we would have known that, wait a minute, you got to get in the gym, right? And you got to work your muscles out, you got to stretch, you got to eat right. Our talent could have went a lot further. So you got to nurture talent. We looked at our abilities like, we supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to jump out the gym. I'm supposed to go be able to catch a football acrobatically. I'm supposed to be able to hit a baseball. I played every sport. I played tennis. I played baseball. I played handball. I played football. I played basketball. I played baseball. I played damn near every sport based off of straight athleticism. Not knowing how to play. Just jump on the court and just pick it up. Nothing was ever nurtured though. So when my athleticism, when the talents, when the eyesight, when the quickness, when the body starts to diminish, there goes the game. Now you got to go back in years later and work on the things to bring your talent, or now you got to hope it's all skill, right? You got to rely on all skill. So you got to understand your talent and not put them to the side like they're nothing. Go to Peter's. First Peter 4:9.
Peter chapter 4 and verse 9.
Yep.
Use hospitality one to another
Go ahead.
without grudging,
Read.
as every man have received a gift.
Right. See that? As every man has received a gift. Go ahead.
Even so, minister the same one to another.
Yeah, you see that? So the gifts that you've received, you're supposed to be, this is how you get a gift anyway. This is one of the ways you get a gift. By people ministering their gifts unto you. Hospitality is a gift. Some people are like super hospitality. You know, you go in their house and, you know, they give you the room and the sheets are folded up like you at a hotel. And they got the towels at the end of the bed, and they got a nice scent. They got the little bar of soap, and you're like, damn, am I in the Hilton or am I at the brother's house, right? So I ain't gonna lie. When people come to my house, I try to do little fancy things that I see people do to me. I'm like, I want to do that to somebody. You know, when Shalimai and them came, we had the room all nice and set up, put like frankincense and myrrh on the towels and all that stuff. And she didn't even stay at my house. All right, damn. Hospitality wasted. Nah, but Shawashana was there, right? So the same thing, the hospitality. Says you need anything, you know, making sure a person is comfortable. Because every Israelite house I've ever been to, of a person that really cared, they made sure that I was comfortable from 20 years ago to now, right? So that same gift of hospitality that was bestowed on me, I'm gonna try to bestow it on others, right? Hospitality. What else? Charity, right? We know about charity. What else? What are some of the gifts? We ain't talking about sewing no more, right? What are some of the gifts? What do you think are some of the gifts that, okay, let's do it like this. What gifts do you want? Everybody's gonna answer. So, who's gonna go first? What?
The gift to be able to like understand people, understanding the people, like.
When you say understand people, do you mean like in an empathetic way?
Empathetic, be able to make connections.
Okay, so be able to understand in the way of connecting with a person.
Right.
Okay, that's kind of empathy, right? Putting yourself in their shoe kind of thing. Okay, that's a good one. What? Come on, Michael. What you got? Y'all gotta think of, listen, you know what I'm doing? You gotta think about yourselves. Now is when you think about yourself. Now is when you be selfish. This is selfish time. Think about yourselves.
When I first came into truth, I realized I was very all over the place.
Okay.
So somehow I read that the James 1:4 about wanting nothing.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to just be always at peace, nothing move me, nothing bother me, just patiently wait. A lot happened, but.
And I can say one thing about Shawashana, she's like that. She just be rolling. She don't be, she's not like, oh my God. She just moseying on through life, right? Just doing her thing, like unbothered. She's peaceful, right? That was something that she wanted. She got it. What else? Come on. What gifts y'all want? What do you want to be able to say that? I want to be able to have this and bestow it on someone else. What?
I want to have that gift to where if you're around needed, you get it right away. Something, oh, you need to go to the truck, you need to do this, you need to do this, something.
So, the gift of, what would that be?
Like following.
it's following, but availability, selflessness, right? Where my time is your time. I know I'm here doing this, but if I'm needed somewhere, I'm gonna do it. Selfless, right? What else? Who else? Think about yourselves. What are you missing? We ain't got it all. What?
To be able to not go back and forth and just have a
So following, following, right? The gift of just following, without having that mind to go back and forth. The lack of contention, right? That's like kind of being at peace. Marcy, what's up? Come
I
on.
was thinking in my head, I want it all.
Good.
I have to pick one.
Good. Well, I'm not saying pick one. What I'm saying is just think about yourself. I know there's many that we're thinking about, but just throw me one.
I would like to be able to, I want the gift of helping others in a way of changing their spirit, to be able to be their sisters and changing their minds.
Y'all trying to get deep in these gifts. Y'all want to go in there and y'all want to be like like Professor X, right? You want to just dip into a person's mind and just change their thoughts. Now, hell yeah. But think about it, you got that gift. You do it with your kids every day. Right? When they do that in the room, what they doing now, they crying and wilding the hell out, and you go back there like, hey, hush it up. And they're like, right? Or no, you can't have that. They start losing it, then you look at them a certain way and they're like, she's looking at me. You got that gift. You got it with the children. Now that gift got to expand and broaden out, right? What you think, Angela?
Two comes to mind actually. One is being able to be called upon and give wise counsel,
Okay, so the gift of counsel. That's a lofty one. What else?
and to learn how to be at peace, like we was watching us say.
To be at peace with what? As far as what?
At peace, I guess it would be patience, being patient.
Okay.
Not, being patient.
Right. Understanding the time. The time will come. Right? Everything is not on our time. What's that?
The gift to critically think about things and also to have a wider view of the scriptures.
Okay.
Be very narrow for me personally.
Right. So broadening your understanding, to critically think about things, meditating on things. Who we missing? Benaiah. It's okay if you want to look through walls. It's okay. That's a gift. No. It's okay. You want to X-ray vision? Listen, you gonna get it. Think about things that have been done towards you that you say, man, I wish I was better at. Okay, patience, right? We all could use a little bit more patience. Sister hiding in the back. We're talking about gifts. Like, what's a gift or a talent? Spiritual talent that you wish, that not that you wish, but that it's been done towards you. I use hospitality as one, right? That the reason why I try to be hospitable when people come is because through my whole 20-something years in the truth, every house I've ever been to, right, from all the way back, I remember I went, listen, 3 months into the truth, I went to San Antonio for 6 months and stayed with a brother in his house and his kids and his wife, and he moved his whole kids out of the room, and we had the whole room, right? He put the kids in his room, and I seen that, and I'm like, damn, that's real hospitable of him to have his kids give up their room. So that's why when people come, the first thing I do, I go to my kids and be like, okay, which one of y'all want to give the room up, right? I have a quick little council. Okay, such and such is coming. Whose turn is it to give their room up? And they look at each other like, and then, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. And why? Because it's been done to me. So that's the question. something that's been done to you that you are not particularly great at, but you're like, man, I want that.
Communication
The gift of communication.
and that temperance.
Temperate in all things, right? Okay. Now, who we missing? Derek and Sharad.
She stole mine, so I'm gonna use another.
No,
Communication.
Okay, communication.
I say, I want to be a leader.
The gift of to be able to be a good leader, right? And not just a leader, but a standard, dedication, consistent, right? Because that's all the things that are synonymous with leader, right? Sharad.
For me, it's to be able to provide wisdom on all levels, whether it's spiritual or, how do I do this?
Okay.
Just be able to
So counsel,
provide wisdom.
right? Be able to give that good hearty counsel in all facets of life, whether it's biblical, just life application, right? Lakarada, what you think?
About.
Oh, okay, keep scared. Okay, we're not gonna. No, so basically the question was, give me a talent or a gift that you want, that somebody has done to you, that you're probably not particularly good at, but you're like, man, I want to be like that. Or you've seen it and you're like, I want that.
I would say Zion's gift,
Okay.
which is to turn into a whole therapist.
Okay, so counsel,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Zion just needs you and get you to open up and start telling you things.
right? Because he's good at empathizing, sympathizing. He's
Yeah.
good at those things. He's good at making you feel comfortable. When you talk to Zion, Zion's like just the homeboy, right?
Yeah, you
just
walk
rap
away
with him.
like, why the hell did I just tell him that?
Yeah. Like that, I just gave him my whole life, but then you come back for more, right? So think about it. Read that scripture one more time. 1 Peter 4, right? Read it again.
1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10. As every man have received a gift,
Right?
even so minister the same one to another.
Now, I'm gonna use my rib as an example, because I know the thing that she lacks in is communication, right? She's not particularly great at it, and I have to always be in communicado mode, right? Always. My phone never stops. But think about it. Even I can recognize in myself that my communication needs to be better too, right? I can sit back and honestly say, man, as much as I do communicate, it needs to get better. But what am I trying to do with her? Recognizing that communication is something that she got to get better at. Well, I'm trying to do what the scriptures say. I'm trying to bestow that on her, that gift on her, right? Go ahead.
As good stewards of the manifold grace of the Most High.
Right. Now, what prevents, and I'm not saying that this is the case, I'm using her as an example. What prevents her from picking up on the communication gift? What prevents it? If I'm like, okay, you want to be a better communicator? Let's do it. What's going to prevent her? What?
Is it if you're doing it too much, to where you won't allow the other person to practice too?
No. No. Close, but no. What? I'm gonna give her the chance, right? Because one of the things of seeing if a person has something is having to be able to step back and say, "Go ahead, let's see how good you are at this." Right? Dad, I can ride my bike. Oh, without the training wheels, really? Let's try it, son. And we saddle up and we right. Ah! Well, you ain't ready yet. Some more practice, right? That was me teaching him how to ride his bike. Yeah, I got it. Okay, let's try it. And just push him down the road and hope for the best. And then you see, okay, he's got it or he don't. So you give him the chance, but what prevents a person from picking up? All the things y'all named, beautiful, excellent, right? Y'all, gifts of prophecy, right? I want to read minds. I want to fly through walls, right? I want to be superhero. Y'all basically said, I want to be a superhero. stops you from being the best superhero you can be? You had your hand up, Asharaya.
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think it's one thing that would prevent you from that gift of attaining that goal is if you're not constantly corrected. And then the other thing, I think that it's on you. So if you say that you want this gift, this talent, and you don't do the necessary things to try to, reach that goal or gain that talent, it has to be something that you really are serious about. So I think the one thing is when you're not constantly corrected, and the second part is just showing how serious you are about obtaining that talent or gaining that gift, having it added on to you.
Okay. Who else had something? What?
Lack of faith.
Yep. Lack of faith. That's definitely a good one. Lack of faith. And we talked about that earlier, right? Giving up. The growing pains, right? Go to Ecclesiastes 6. And she said it. If you're serious about something, think about it. Aren't you going to go through anything you need to obtain? That lack of seriousness, that lack of understanding what it's going to take for me to obtain said talent. I read you that text message earlier, right? And that person specifically named 3 sisters and pinpointed that I'm not like them. That's fine. But my thing is this, don't complain about something if you're not doing something to change your circumstance. Don't complain you're not like a person if you're not getting next to that person. Or when you're being urged to get next to that person, what do?
You run.
Huh?
You run.
Right? You got the little voice that says, real soft in your ear. She don't like you. Right? It's like a little whisper. She don't like you. It's not a real voice. It's not a real voice.
Wow.
Right? He don't like you. She don't like you. She got something against you. It's personal. Right? It's not a real voice. This is made up stuff in your own head.
Wow.
To prevent you from getting next to the talent. Read Ecclesiastes 6. I want you to read verse 23.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 23.
Right?
Give ear, my son.
Right?
Receive my advice.
But how can you give ear to something that you're not around to give ear to? How can you receive the advice if you refuse to be around the thing that you should be coveting? This is the question you got to ask. You can pinpoint what's needed, or you can, like, think about it. Don't we all do it? Man, I want the 2022, right? But then you know that in between the thought and the 2022 is going to be what? Huh? It's work. And then you think about how much work it's going to take for you to get to 2022, and you're like, I don't get that 2005.
2025.
Yeah, you did like, I'll give you that 2005 because that 2022 is too much work. I want the talent, right? I want the communication. I want the prophecy. I want to be a counselor. But then you got to sit back and what? You got to be communicated to. You got to. The best leaders were the best what? Yeah, man. The best leaders were the best followers. The best counselors are the best what? The best listeners. So what does it mean if I want to be a great counselor? I would have to shut the hell up and let somebody counsel me. With not a rebuttal, with not a right? If I want to be the best communicator, then I gotta have somebody show me how to communicate all the things that y'all want, right? Somebody has to show it to you. I use hospitality as one that I always try to make sure that I'm hospitable. I try. I don't know how great I am. I mean, other people can judge, but I try to do at least the things that were done towards me, right? But how would I know hospitality if I wasn't put in a position to have somebody show that to me? I always talk about having to live with Ariana in his house when I first came back to Houston. And the things that I had to pick up living in another person's space. Right? And understanding that you can't just live in a person's space and not contribute. You can't just live in a person's space and just act like it's your space. You can't just live in a person's space and walk on eggshells either. That don't make sense. But there has to be this understanding that, wait a minute, I'm gonna be respectful, I'm gonna be cordial, I'm gonna do all these different things, right? And if I gotta do it, they gotta do it, and everything works out with more of a harmony. Now we're living together in this unity, right? But if you're not put in those positions, how would you be able to pick that up and understand how to put yourself in another person's shoes when they're in your space? Don't you know it's like frightening for some people to have to live in somebody else's house? It's frightening. You're like, I don't know how to move, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to, I don't know, but our job is to make that person comfortable. No, su casa is mi casa. There's still rules and regular and this and that, right? I know the one fear, everybody comes to my house, they feel like they're gonna burn up, right? Everybody feel like when they come to my house, they're gonna just die in hell because it's hot. What do? I turn the AC down, right? I try to make the ones that I know need that Arctic cold, that Arctic blast, right? Kazakh family, Ariana, when they come, I know. You know what? Even when Ariana comes, I turn it down a few degrees because the hospitality, right? But when I go to Kazakh's house, I talk about it. He'll turn up a degree or two for me, knowing that 69, 68, it's going to be a rough week, right? It's going to be rough for me, right? So understanding and putting yourself in a person's shoes to make them comfortable and not make them feel a certain way even being in your space. And I'm using hospitality because, you know, it's something I'm dealing with, but it's something that we all got to deal with. But that's a talent. You got some people that, I remember somebody else, Bakar, Kaya.
Yeah.
I remember going to their crib. Bro, I felt like I was getting white glove treatment. Bakar's rib was like, it was crazy. She was everywhere.
Yep.
Like just, you need anything? You need anything? I was like, damn, who is this sister? She was just boop, 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 like drinks refilled. I felt like she had on white gloves and a damn maid suit.
It was like this. It was like, oh man, I need to rest.
Yeah, like the chairs under you, the plate, like, I'm like, whoa, this is really on top of it.
Cold drink?
Yeah. It's like you thought it and it was like, boop, oh, damn. Boop. Like we all, listen, we all play ball out there and we all went out there acting young. And you know what happens, old dudes playing ball, she already knew. She was like, here's the painkillers. Here's the ibuprofen for y'all right here. She was like, look, take what you need. Here's this, here's that, right? The shower, she was, like, I'll never forget how she treated, and I'm talking about, it was, most of Houston was there, the Virginia brothers was there. We were all in Bakar's house, man, just packed in. But she was like, bloop, 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 bloop. Just everything was just on point. Just, you need anything, you good? She made us feel real comfortable. That hospitality. So, you know, that's one of the things, like, that's very important. That's one of those things that I look at. I'm like, man, I want to make sure I'm hospitable. I don't want nobody being in my house feeling like they're not welcome, or feeling like I'm not trying to cater to their situation. That's just one thing that I'm talking about. So how do you get that? Read on.
And refuse not my counsel.
Go ahead.
And put thy feet into her fetters.
Do what?
Put thy feet
into her face.
You gotta chain yourself to the person that got what you want. Everything y'all named, somebody got. Everything y'all talked about, the next person got it. Are you chained to that person? Or do you run? More than likely you run, because to get what you need, it ain't gonna be easy. It ain't gonna feel good. That's the whole point about these talents. They come down, man. They come down looking real glorious and gift wrapped. But when that thing gotta go, when that talent needs to be bestowed and dispensed into you, it's not like some imaginary glowing gold box that falls down into the sky and melts into your body. Hell no. It's a crucible. Yeah. It's the fiery trial. You know, the one that we all like, ooh, why am I going through this? You have to stay at the fiery trial that is set to try you. Right? Like it's some strange thing. The proving a friend. Oh, you want to be communicative? Okay, well, let's prove it. So you're going to get a phone. You're going to get 3 phones. You're going to get a watch. You're going to have 50 million text message apps, right? So you're going to have a hangout chat for every aspect of your life, and then things that don't even belong to you, right? Sister's department, this department, that department. Hey, you check the chat? Oh, damn, no. What you in the chat? Right? You're going to have 1,000 chats. Like, y'all think y'all got chats to check. If I go on my line right now, I think I got, how many chats is in line? God.
Like 20 of them.
Yes. That's lines and then hangouts. And then text messages. Right? You want to communicate? Okay, cool. This is how you going to do it.
The millions of group
Yeah,
texts.
that's what I'm saying. The millions of group messages. The officers text. The me and Kazak and Zion text. The me and him text. The me and my text with him. My text with him. Like, y'all's like, you want to communicate? Okay, let's see. You want their gift? Well, here's the crucible. The stage is set. But people, man, this is too much communication. God damn, all y'all do is communicate. We gotta have so many chats. Well, that's what you wanted, right? You said you wanted to communicate. Well, now guess what? Put your feet in her fetters. Put your feet in the fetters of communication. You want to be a counselor? Okay, well, guess what? Take this counsel. Take this advice. If you can't do something that, or you can't give somebody something that you haven't done yourself. So you're going to be taking advice for a long time. You want to have hearty counsel. Well, guess what? You got the deepest guy that you live with, right? Tahawu Mayam. He's going to go all the way in them waters for you and give you that hearty, meaty, right? Those meaty talks. So now you're understanding how it feels to receive. You're on the end, one end of something. But then you're going to learn how to be on the other end. Y'all see this? So how are my talents realized? Well, I got to chain myself to the person that I'm trying to get the talent from. Remember, the talent ain't just going to fall out the damn sky. The gift don't just fall out the sky. Or else 1 Timothy 4 and 14 will be a lie. Neglect not the gift that is in thee. There would be no need to neglect or to nurture if the gift just was falling out the sky, right? So not only do you have to work for it, you got to work to keep it. Read on.
As I deck into her chain.
Yeah, you got to be a slave, man. Just think about it. We talk about it all the time. Think about the 12 apostles. Were they not receiving gifts? Were they not receiving gifts? Remember, they couldn't. Okay, remember when they couldn't cast out? Right? You have to have a spirit on you to be able to do that. Cast out devils. How come we can't do it? Well, fasting and praying. That's a gift. To be able to fast and pray on a certain level and time, some can do it better than others. It's not everybody's gift. Right? This only goes out by fasting and praying. What y'all want? Eating and drinking. It ain't gonna go out. Right? They're not receiving us in this city. Should we call down fire from heaven? Whoa, hold up. That's not what we're here for. forbearance, patience, temperance. Were they not learning these things from Yahushua while they was moving? They were learning all these things that they were learning and all these encounters with the Pharisees was to show what? It was to show all the spiritual things that Yahushua embodied that they needed to learn. Peter, right? The damn thug of the crew. The damn gangster thug walking around with a sword. Live by the sword, die by the sword. You reap what you sow. Hard-headed, stubborn, right? He had to learn all these things and get a lot of things out of him. Judas. All these men. There were things that they were learning while rolling with Christ. They had to be chained to him for 3 years. When did you ever read about the apostles? Like, yeah, so y'all go over there and do that, and I'm going to be over here and do that. When you ever hear that? See, got y'all. Yeah, you did. Judas. He was the only one that when everybody was over here doing things with Christ, he was dipping off and selling Christ out. He was the only one to dip off. The one that broke those chains and broke away from what he should have been putting himself under. He was the only one that sold out. Why? Because now he was chasing multiple things, giving himself to many masters, right? You can't serve two masters. The only one that broke away was the one that sold out. Read on.
Verse 25. Bow down thy shoulder.
Do what?
Bow down thy shoulder.
You know when you bow yourself to someone, what are you showing a sign of? What is it a sign of?
Humility.
Humility. Respect. Bow down. Right? There's a whole song about it. Bow down.
Bow down.
Bow down. That's greater than you. Right? But really, let me say it, right? Because it's not about bowing down to degrade anyone. But see, the problem is this. Going back to that text message that we read. You acknowledge what a person has, but were you willing to now show the obedience and the respect to say, you know what? You got this. I want it. I'm coming to you for it. Go watch all the little Karate Kid movies, right? What was happening? He had to go to, Daniel-san had to go to Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi wasn't going to Daniel-san, right? And Daniel-san had to learn what Mr. Miyagi was showing him to bring out his talents, right? Daniel-san wasn't like, because he was doing it, like, wax on, like, what the hell this got to do with anything? Well, go wax the car. And he waxed it on, he's like, what the hell? And as soon as somebody throws a punch, oh, I get it now. Wax, block, right? Wax on, block, wax off, block. Oh, you taught me how to block. So because I wasn't getting it the way I wanted it, I wasn't realizing what I was getting. Now, what if Daniel's son would have ran before the lesson was over? His blocking wouldn't have been great. He would have been punched in the face a million times. So remember, the thing ain't going to come the way you feel like it's supposed to come. But if you're next to it, if you're near it, if you humble yourself and allow yourself to be taught, it'll come. You'll get it. The gift, the talent, whatever it is you want. The understanding, the deep meditation, right? The ability to counsel, the ability to be selfless, hospitable, patient, at peace. Read on.
And bear her.
Read.
And be not grieved with her bond.
And you can't, now that you bowed yourself, damn, why am I doing this? When does that start to happen? When the grievousness comes in? When does that start to happen? When them chains get heavy, right? When you're looking at everybody else doing what? You're looking at everybody else free, so to speak, right? Everybody else, quote unquote, free. You're looking at like, damn, how come they don't got to go through that? How come they don't got to do it like this? You don't know what they went through. You don't know what they have to go through. You don't know what their chain is. Like Paul said, he said, be not ashamed of my chain. Right? But a lot of us get ashamed of our chain. What you're supposed to be anchored down to and tied to. Why not be tied down to wisdom? Why not be anchored to a person that's going to be able to bestow on you the things that you need for your life? Why not? Why not? Well, I know why. We all know why. Because it's hard to realize, first of all, what you need. It's hard to realize how it's going to come. Because you can't control the situation, you tend to not want to be a part of the situation. You got to relinquish, bowing your shoulders, showing that you're relinquishing control, sisters, brothers. Putting yourself into chains and bowing your neck is showing that I'm no longer in control. Something else is going to control me. Read on.
Verse 26. Come unto her with thy whole heart.
So I can't be grieved, but now I got to put my whole heart, my whole spirit into this. So now that if I'm trying to learn something or pick up on something or cover the best gift, I got to do it wholeheartedly. Not unto men, but unto who? Right, because who am I performing for? Who am I trying to gather these gifts for? To be able to bestow to the next man, the next woman. Read.
And keep her ways with all thy power.
Go ahead.
Search and seek.
Right.
And she shall be made known unto thee.
No, it's just gonna fall in your lap.
Search and seek.
You better start asking more questions. You better start searching more. See, this is the problem. We don't want to do these things. We don't want to ask the right questions. You know what, man? What is it that I need to be better? Listen, you know why I loved rolling around with Shaquat when I was in VA, when I was in Rochester those 3 months? When he came down, he would ask me certain things, and I'm like, why is he asking me this? Not, and understand what I'm saying. For him to be such a young guy, and I said it during Passover, when he got his promotion, so the one thing that Shaquat would do, he would ask the right questions. He would literally put me on the spot, like, I was thinking, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to get better? I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm like, you know why I put me on the spot? I'm not used to those questions. I'm just not. I'll be honest. I'm not used to somebody asking me. So what? Assess me is what he was saying. That's what he was saying. Tell me how whack I am, right? In a sense. Because he wasn't saying, hey, what am I doing good? He said, tell me what I need to change to be better. Better at what? And I knew, he wanted, certain things that he's working on. But he's telling me to tell him his flaws. What do I see his flaws as? I almost crashed the car. I remember where we was right on what is that, 410? We was passing right by downtown, headed to class. And out of nowhere, he said that, and I was like, huh? I was so shocked because you're not used to that. A person asking you those questions, and we had a good talk. We had a real good talk, and from then on, I understood, like, okay, he's trying to search and seek, but he's searching within himself first and seeing that, okay, I'm not perfect, right? I'm a young man. I'm a young officer. I'm trying, but I can do things better. I'm with the brother that got the experience. I'm with him for a reason. Let me use him. Let me talk to him. Let me see what he sees. What?
I have a precept that Shaquat taught me.
What you got?
It's 2 Corinthians 10 and 12.
Somebody get it. But that searching and that seeking, think about it. Remember, what if you don't know what to search for? All of a sudden you just give up hope? What are we always doing? We're always searching and seeking what needs to be implemented, what needs to change, what needs to be added. We're always looking, right? Taking the oversight. We're always, man, brother can improve on this. The sister can do this better. The sisters can do this. The brothers need to implement this. We're constantly trying to figure out what can be added. But if you're not looking within yourself and saying, you know what can be added, you're basically saying that you got it all. And you won't do what the scriptures say. You won't search and seek. What? Read it.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 12. For we dare not make ourselves of the number.
Right.
Or compare ourselves with some.
Right. And putting yourself on that pedestal that I got it all. I don't need to ask. I don't need to examine. Examine myself. For what? I examine myself. Perfect. Right? Money's perfect. Hell nah.
Well, you rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10.
Right?
Like 12.
12. It's like, oh my God. Like that's what. Anyway, what?
Hey, that man, just saying that reminds me of the who is that? It's like you can't stand the truth.
Tom Cruise. You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Nah, that's not Dangerfield.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. Right.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson.
Right. Jack Nicholson.
He was in the movie with Tom Cruise. Right.
Yeah.
Jack, you can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, but some of us don't want to. Some of us don't want to step into reality that you don't have it, and the only way to get it is to be humble, to shut up, to listen, and to follow. Chain yourself to the ones that have what you want. I don't care what it is. Somebody has it. Somebody got it. There's somebody that's been put in your life to show you what you don't have and to be the mirror in your life. A lot of the times what it is husband and wife. Your husband is good at one thing. There's a lot of things that my rib is good at that I'm like, damn, I gotta be better at that. I gotta be better at that. She's great with the kids. Me? I'm the disciplinary. That's it. I come through and I just lay down the law, right? I don't care if a kid falls, I'm disciplining him. What the hell you fall for? Get up, right? I'm just going in, right? But I see my rib and she's like, the ice packs and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, yeah, gotta be a little bit better with the kids, right? But that's her. That's one of her gifts. She knows how to deal with the kids in that motherly, nurturing, right? I'm just coming through, just waging war on the whole house, right? And I'm like, okay, I can't wage war all the time. I'm always at war, right? But she knows how to go into war mode too. But she does more nurturing, and I'm like, okay, I gotta ease up a little bit. So I look at the things that she's doing. I'm like, okay, let me be a little bit more balanced, right? So everybody gotta sit back and. But if I act like my way was the right way all the time, bro, my whole house would hate me. I'd just be in there just going in on everybody all the time, right? All the time, just mowing everything down. I wouldn't have no household.
I'll have something on that.
I don't know who I heard this from, but I remember someone saying that if a person goes out to the world and they're good to everyone else, but the person that's at home with them is unhappy, how good are you?
Yeah. And really, are you realizing that you're one way in one place and one way? It's examining yourself. Are you letting somebody show you that? Wait a minute, you gotta take care of home first. We always talk about it. It's like trying to be a leader in the church, but you can't lead your own house. How can a man lead the church if he don't take care of his own house? It's the same thing, but then you gotta sit back and examine and say, wait a minute, what am I missing? What qualities? Right? Drop that, go back.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 27.
Go ahead.
Search and seek,
right?
And she shall be made known unto thee.
She shall what?
Be made known unto thee.
Go ahead.
And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go.
Go ahead.
For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and thou shalt be turned to thy joy.
That peace, that rest that everybody's talked about. Yeah. Well, Shawashana said something that the way she is now wasn't the way she was when she first came in. How did she obtain that? Well, she had to look. There had to have been somebody in her parameter that was able to give her a little bit of glimpse of, okay, this is how you be at peace with things. This is how you not worry about things so much. This is how you just let the Most High do His work. right? That ability to, like the scriptures say, to stand still and just let the Most High do what he does. A lot of us don't got that ability. A lot of us like, man, I got to go out of here and Like, ain't nothing you can do. You better off stepping back and letting the Most High do what he got to do, man. We think that we can affect everything at every moment. We got no control. But the ability to know, let me affect the things that I can affect, which is myself, my children, right? But I can't change situations based off of what I want or what I do. The Most High controls. How did she have to learn that? Well, she had to be around, so she didn't just develop that out of nowhere, it just out of thin air. No, put in situations to have to what? Refine that talent in her. Go ahead.
Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee.
Now, think about it. It's no longer heavy chains. It's no longer, oh my God, I'm tied down to this. Now, that's the defense mechanism. That's the defense from all the anxiety and all the worrying and all the losing your mind when things seemingly don't go the way they should. It's like, well, hey, that's how it is. Most High is in control. And then what happens? Something happens, something changes, and all of a sudden it's right where it should be, where you anticipated it. All the worry, all the anxiety, all the losing your mind wasn't going to change it. That's the proof. That's the defense. Go ahead.
And her chains a robe of glory.
Read on.
For there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace.
Jump down to verse 32.
Verse 32. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught.
Go ahead.
And if thou wilt apply thy mind.
It's about, remember, he said he'll give you the talent according to the servile willingness, the several willingness, according to your willing mind. If you're willing, you can learn anything. You can pick up any talent, any gift from anybody. But how willing are you to go through these things? How willing are you to bow your ear? How willing are you to bow the shoulder? How willing are you to make yourself a prisoner to wisdom? Go ahead.
Thou shalt be prudent.
Go ahead.
If thou love to hear.
If thou what?
If thou love to hear.
Every talent that y'all talked about has something to do with you having to hear something from somebody else. Somebody had to show you and talk you into the method of how to obtain it. If you love to hear, go ahead.
Thou shalt receive understanding.
Go ahead.
If thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise.
So where does it come from? Go ahead.
Stand in the multitude of the elders.
Now, remember, we went through the whole elder sister, right, thing, and what made an elder sister? Well, what is it? Is it age? Necessarily? No, it's what that person is doing, right? So if you're looking at a person that, or if you're looking at brothers and sisters and they're able to do some of the things that you're saying that, man, I want to be able to do those things. I want to be able to teach. I want to be able to teach. I want to be able to understand. I want to be able to communicate. I want to be able to just be at peace. I want to be able to be unsettled. I want to have patience. I want to have this. I want to have that. You got to get next to those people. The problem is this. The problem is this. You know why your talents don't come to fruition? Why they don't blossom like a beautiful little plant, flower, orchid? You get next to the wrong people. You get next to the ones that actually throw water on your fire. That same person that sent that text message, she was reluctant. She was reluctant to be around the ones that were going to nurture her talents. Just think about it. When you put two kids together, what tends to happen? They fight, they argue, they do kid stuff, right? You got to put somebody in the middle of them to keep that order and that structure. A person that's not elder. Like if I took, like right now, we got Benaiah with Shemaiah, and Noah, right? Take Benaiah out the mix. he's going to argue with him over the iPad. Guarantee you, that's what he's going to do. Because he's supposed to be paying attention to class, but he cares more about the iPad right now. But Naya's there saying, no, look, turn around, no, right? See that? But if you leave the two youngsters alone, what are they going to do? They're going to care about the iPad and not about what they're supposed to be learning. You see that? It's the same thing with us, though, where you put two young people together, two people that haven't realized anything about this life, anything about their talent, anything that they're supposed to be doing. What are they going to do? They're going to feed off of each other in what ways? Are they going to feed off each other to build? Or they're going to feed off of the slothfulness, the autopilot, the I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know why they got us doing all these different things. Right? Man, garments, why we got to go to garments twice a week? Why we got to do this? Why we got to go to street speaking? Why we got to do flyers? Why, the mall, the truck, like all the things that are set up to be able to bring the virtues, I'm going to use that word now, the virtues out of you, the crucible, the fire. The youngsters are going to say what? Let's avoid the fire. Right? Let's avoid the flame. Let's avoid the refining. Go ahead.
Verse 35. Be willing to hear.
Go ahead.
Every godly discourse.
Go ahead.
And let not the parables of understanding escape thee.
So what do I need to change? What do I need to do? What do I need to add? Be willing to hear every godly discourse. If anybody asks me here what you need to do, I'm not gonna be ungodly and lie to you, first of all, or talk about your hairstyle. Right? Oh, you wanna be a good counselor? Okay, well look, this is what you should be doing. You wanna be a good you wanna get that understanding? Well, this is what you need to get next. But you gotta be willing to hear these different things. You gotta be willing to hear about yourself. I gotta do it every day. When I get on the phone with Zion, it ain't like, oh, we just shooting the crap. The majority, we sitting there like, you gotta make sure it is. You gotta make sure you're doing it. Bro, you ain't doing that. And we're doing it to each other. Right? We're iron and sharpeneth iron to each other. To make sure what? That the things that have been put in us, the things that we have, they're not diminishing. That watchful eye, that ability to lead, that can diminish in a person. When there's no one there showing you like, wait a minute, you're slipping. Your leadership is slipping. Your watchfulness is slipping. These different things are slipping. What's that?
I was thinking about something you said 2 minutes ago and I lost what you're saying right now. You're saying that when someone doesn't correct it, can diminish it?
No, I'm saying that if you don't have that, like if you don't have that iron sharpening iron, it will diminish. If you don't have a person next to you backing you up, right? Like me, Kazak, Zion. If any one of us is just left to ourselves, what happens? You will diminish because there's no one there to make sure or to show you where things could be slacking a little bit. You might get forgetful. Like the one thing that me, Kazak, and Zion do, we remember everything for each other, right? So I remember things for Kazak, some things. Zion remember some things, and then he'll remember some things, and we put it together, and it's like, yeah, okay, yep, that did happen, right? We'll all come, right?
So for women, it doesn't always work like that because it's like they're gonna feel diminished because they're always getting something to tell, told. I never go in correction mode, but it's more like this, don't forget this, don't forget that, don't forget that. It's like maybe it's overwhelming.
Well, it can't be. It's how you position your mind because think about it. Isn't jail overwhelming?
Pretty sure.
Hell yeah, right? But the Bible just said you got to put yourself in jail when it comes to wanting to obtain these different things. So it is about the constant, no sis, no bro, no, yes. The person that's giving the wisdom or whatever it is, they got to gauge, right? Because even in jail you get an hour of rest. Yeah, you get an hour of sunlight, right? Even in jail, it's not like 24/7 of just darkness. So there has to be an understanding of the person that I'm, as a leader, or as a person that has the person next to me. I gotta know how much is gonna break them and how much is not. When to ease up, But think about it. You know those things because the same thing you're giving somebody is what was given to you, right? So you know you'll be able to gauge and say, oh, okay, you know what? Let me ease up a little bit. That person is about, they're here, they're willing, they're trying. Let me not make it harder for them. Let me find ways for them to learn at their pace or the way they learn things.
Or if I may add, because in my case, it wasn't ease up on it, more like, we all know that.
Yep.
I had to remember that didn't work out for me so well, so I gotta know, okay, I can't be facade.
Right.
Not everybody can handle that. I gotta be who I wanted at that time when I was young. And
Yeah.
I needed that person to just ease up a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, but that's the point where you've been through certain things to obtain your talents and to get your gifts. You went through certain things, and you know, okay, it wasn't wrong that I went through these things, but the method in which I had to go through probably is not needed at this time or needed for that person. We always use. There was a time when brothers was getting like crazy amounts of push-ups, right? And I got fairly small chests. They called me Mr. No Chest. But you got some brothers whose chests and shoulders are huge. And they was always on that floor pumping, right? It was all 1,000 push-ups. And I'm like, I'm the skinny guy, no chest, right? And I'm like, cool. I didn't need push-ups to learn. I just understood my job and I did it. Some men were different, right? So everyone doesn't need the same method to get to that same point. Some men needed 1,000 push-ups. I just needed 30, and I was good because I didn't like push-ups. So I'm gonna handle my business. Everybody learns different, right? Where we at?
Verse 36.
Right, go ahead.
And if thou seest a man of understanding.
This is the point. If you see a man of understanding, if you see a man with the talent, what are you supposed to do? Well, first of all, what is this telling us? That you're supposed to be watching for who has what you want. You're supposed to be watching and saying, man, damn, sister's creative. Man, that brother he can read good. Man, he's powerful. He can read and he's sharp. How does he do that? Let me go ask him real quick. How you get your reading so good? I practice, study. I read in the mirror, right? I'm constantly reciting the scriptures in my head. I'm meditating. How do you do these things good? How do you bring those scriptures out? Well, I'm constantly thinking and meditating and studying. But you got to be looking for who has what it is that you want. Who has the talent? Who has those gifts? Remember, we all got gifts, right? But what do we tend to do? We do the opposite of the whole Ecclesiastes 6. Oh, she got the gift to run her mouth. I want to be next to her. She got the gift of tattletaling and busybody. I want to be that. She got that gift where she just nosy as hell and she knows everybody's business. I want to be next to her. She got the gift of laziness. She ain't gonna push me too hard. She got the gift to she has the gift of blindness. So she ain't gonna see my flaws. Right?
Hey.
He got the Then that brother got the gift of drunkenness, so I'm gonna be around him because he ain't gonna check me.
Right.
Right? It's like, come on now. If you run to the weakness, then guess what you're gonna get? Weak ass results. But if you run to the strength and the ones that have been there and put themselves through it, guess what you're gonna get? Not just a good result, you're gonna get the method on how to go through things. Right? Like, I'm gonna use Ivy for an example. How long you been on your fasting mode? How long you been on that?
3.5 weeks.
So you've been on it 3.5 weeks. Now it kickstarted me and we had a conversation. I'm like, look, you need to do this. Well, and she's being successful. Now she wouldn't be successful if I didn't go through it myself and understand what's going to try to come up and deter her, right, from her fast. And I was like, you know what? Hit this brother up, call him, see what he did. Right? Take this herb, do this, take it, look, eat that. And if she's doing it, she's successful. She's putting herself in the situation to at least hear a person that's been through it, right? And done it. So not only is she gonna get the result, but she's getting the method on how to do it. Y'all see that? Don't run from the method. Don't run from the method. Don't run from the experience. Go ahead.
Get thee betimes unto him,
Right?
and let thy foot wear the steps of his door.
Go ahead.
Let thy mind be upon the ordinances.
Right. Jump from there. Go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 1:19. Dang, it's already 9. Wow. I'm almost done. Got like 1, 2, 3 scriptures. Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 1 verse 19.
Go ahead.
Wisdom reigneth down skill and knowledge of understanding.
Wisdom does what?
Reigneth down skill and knowledge.
Skills is another word for talents and gifts. It says wisdom reigneth down skill. But think about it. Does it all of a sudden just rain gifts into your brain? Where does that wisdom come from? Where does it come from? Well, you see a man of understanding get deeper times him. It's going to come from the brothers and sisters that have been through certain things that now, it's like I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm the best at everything, because I'm not. Even though I want to be, I'm not. Some of y'all are better at things than me. Some of y'all are better at forbearing, better patience, because you've been through things that I haven't been through, right? And you go through things and I'm like, damn, that brother's going through that. Strong cat, or that sister's going through that. Wow, it's a strong sister. Like, I hope I don't got to go through that. I don't want to go through that. There's certain things that y'all do. I'm like, I don't want to go through that, because I don't know how to deal with it. And something so small, like a dude had a tooth pain and went to the dentist. And I'm like, I never want to go through tooth pains. Ever. I don't know how he dealt with it for a week.
Longer.
I can't deal with that. Right? He got some very strong pain threshold. Him too. That pain threshold is crazy. Me? Nah. I'd be balling in the chair at the house, curled up, begging for my mama. I'm serious. I saw that, I was like, that's a strong brother right there. Right? There's certain things, that's a small thing, but this thing that y'all have, that I sit back and watch, because I'm watching. What am I watching for? I'm watching to see what I can steal from y'all. I'm watching to see what I can leech, what strength I can take from y'all, not to make you weak, right? But the reciprocal, it's always a constant reciprocal. It's a constant refreshing. I'm watching y'all to see, man, that brother's strong. How did he go through that? That sister's strong. How did she go through that? Because I might have to be faced with the situation. And what am I going to do? I might have to come to y'all for the strength. You see that? Come and steal the gift from you for a second. So it's a constant back and forth. A constant watching. A constant, who has it? Who got it? Who has it right now? Who's going to have it? But it doesn't just rain down on us. Wisdom don't just fall. You don't just take the Bible and all of a sudden the whole Bible, like, who studies like this? Damn, I got the Daniel's breakdown. Time for Revelations. And you put the Bible to you, right? They don't plug you up like the Matrix, right? You got to sit here, you got to open the book, you got to ask the questions, you got to go through things. A lot of times the scriptures, you talking about getting the understanding, right? Magun?
Yes, sir.
And having that broadened perspective. You know where that comes from? That comes from now having to live the Bible. Having to be put in situations where you're like, oh, dang, I get that. I understand what that says now. How many times that happened to y'all? Where you live in life and something happens and the scripture pops in your head and you're like, wow, I get that now because I literally have to live it. Yeah. So it don't just pop into your brain. Or how many times you see a brother do something and you're like, oh, now I get what that scripture was saying. Why? Because wisdom is going to rain down, but you got to be around wise people to get wisdom. Right? Go ahead.
And exalted them to honor that hold her fast.
Right, Romans 1:11. 1 Corinthians 12:31.
Romans chapter 1, verse 11.
Right?
For I long to see you,
Go ahead.
that I may impart unto you
some spiritual gift.
We are the ones that impart the spiritual gifts onto one another. The forbearing, the endeavoring, right? The charity. We're not all good at forbearance. We're not all good at long suffering. Some of us got weaker faith than others. But you're supposed to be looking at the person that's faithful and saying, man, what's making them faithful? And where is their faithfulness carrying them? What's that?
Well, like that pure mind, it's hard to be pure-minded.
Pure mind, right? To the pure, all things are pure. To having that pure outlook. Man, that, I call them like the silver lining people. There's always like a silver lining for them where it doesn't matter how dark it is, there's always the rainbow. They always see cup half, what are you, a pessimist?
I can't say that anymore, but yes.
Right. So it's the glass is not half full, it's half empty.
Half empty.
Right. See, I look at the glass as half. How do I look at the glass? I look at it as half empty. I guess it's situational. I don't know. I look at it, it's half empty and half full sometimes. I guess how I'm feeling that day, right? You got pessimists, you got optimists. You got those people that it doesn't matter what's going on around them, it's always a great day. Everything is always good. The Most High got it. Those people sometimes annoy me.
But that's kind of how Kazakh is. Everybody's good. Everybody's good until they prove themselves wrong. And it's like, don't you see how yeah, but that's what they're saying.
Yeah?
Okay, but look what they're doing.
He is
That's
like
what
that.
they're saying. It's like, okay, I gotta learn from you. I gotta learn that.
Yeah, because me, I ain't like that. I'm like, hell nah. Track record. I'm like, hell nah. We give him a chance. Like, I don't, I'm always I'm the party pooper. So Kazak calls me to burst the bubble. That's what I am. I'm the bubble burster. So I'm calling you, I need all the cons. I'm the guy that give you all the, not con, K-N, C-O-N, the reasons why not to do something. I give you all I'll give you all the reasons why, but I come on the back end, but remember this. And look, we gotta think about this part, and we gotta remember this, and we gotta remember and this, and this. And he's like, damn, I didn't think about that. You're right. And it's like, damn, okay, well, we ain't gonna do that. Or no, look, okay, yeah, we thought about that. We gonna still do that. I'm that guy, right? I don't know what is that? I don't know, a realist? I'm a realist, I guess. Yeah, I'm a realist, right? But you have those people that it doesn't matter. It could be hail, brim, firestones out there, and guess what?
We can do it.
We gonna walk through fire. We gonna, right? That's how it is. Go ahead.
To the end, ye may be established.
Right. See, that's what it's about. Is how do we establish one another? Well, we got to be looking at what each other has to bring and has to offer, and saying, "Man, can I borrow that?" And really, it's how did you get this way? How did you get that pure mind? How did you get that optimistic spirit? Right? How did you get that faith? How did you build your faith? We got to ask more of those questions. Not did you see Cardi B's last video, or did you see this, or did you see that Migos? You see that? You see this? You see that? Nah. Ask more of the spiritual things to get those spiritual gifts. Right? Go from there. Go to 1 Corinthians 12 and 31. 1 Timothy 4 and 12.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 31.
Actually, 1 Timothy 4 and 13. Go ahead, read.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 31.
Right?
But covet earnestly the best gift.
Yeah, that's what it's about. This is the one time you got to be covetous. Coveting the best gifts. Because we all got gifts. But some of us got bad gifts in us. Some of us got that negativity gift. That faithlessness gift. That hate gift. The gift of hate. The gift of contention. The gift of arguing. The gift of no peace. Some of us have those gifts where somebody's looking at that and saying, I want to be like that too. Your children. They pick up on your contention. They pick up on your lack of motivation. They pick up on those things. We're supposed to be saying, man, what good qualities can I take from this person? There's nothing wrong with that. But you gotta be looking at each other. What is that? When I say you have to be looking at each other, what do I mean by that? I mean you got to be stare a cat down, so they won't get to you. And I just stare at you in a staring competition until we blink. What we talking about?
Every person, no matter how they were old, there's always something good that you don't have that you want to have.
Yeah. And but what does that take? Some of us are too selfish. We're selfish and we're apprehensive. I don't want to talk to that person. I want to. You're comfortable with being in the reserve role of letting everyone else deal with the person. Like if a new person comes in, I watch new person come in and only certain sisters will talk to her, or a brother come in, only certain brothers, right? Where we can't reserve ourselves in the background to not want to deal with new people or each other, right? You should say, man, look, I'm here. Let me deal with. Let me be selfless. Who had their hand up?
No, I was just gonna say it takes humility.
Yeah, it takes humility. And that's what we're talking about. That bowing that shoulder, bowing your ear. There's a level of humility. There's a level of taking yourself off the pedestal of, I've been here, I know something. Because we all been here, we all know something. But what about the person that knows more than you in certain aspects? Remember, a lot of people coming in, if we're just talking about that, a lot of people coming in from the world, guess what they know that you don't know? They know about the world. You're sheltered. Right? That's why I love going to the mall and just talking to people. That's what you got going on. And they'll be like, oh yeah, so you're like, damn, that's what's going on out in these streets.
Bruh, I learned some things.
You'll learn how sheltered you are and that you don't know nothing about the world. That's why I watch the news and stuff like that, because I'm like, man, that's what's happening. Because you get so embedded in your house, your life, the camp, and then you blind yourself to the world. That's not always a good thing. It's good for those that need to be blinded, the youthful that don't need to see what's happening in the world. They don't need to turn up.
Easily persuaded.
They're easily persuaded. Me, ain't nothing persuaded me. But it's just a trip when somebody's like, oh yeah, so this is going on and that's going on. And you're like, really? That's what's going on in these streets? They're like, oh yeah, you didn't know? Nah. Were you been under a rock? Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. I've had people say that to me like, where you been at? Where you live? And I'm like, really? They're like, really? You don't know that? I'm like, bro, I'm one track minded. I take 2 streets everywhere I gotta go. That's it. I don't deviate from the plan. I don't know what's up. You teaching me. But you gotta remember that there's always people that know something about something that you don't. If you keep that in mind, then guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn a lot more than what you thought you knew. You're gonna learn a lot more than what you thought was really out there. Covet earnestly the best gifts. That means that I gotta talk to people. I gotta deal with people. I gotta ask the right questions. I have to be willing to give myself. Right? I have to be willing to divulge a little bit to be able to receive. Y'all see that? So, 2 more scriptures. Now that you realize your gift, you gotta use it. You gotta nurture it. 1 Timothy 4:13, read it.
1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 13.
Right?
Till I come, give attendance to reading,
Right?
to exhortation,
Go ahead.
to doctrine.
Right?
Neglect not the gift that is in thee,
Go ahead.
which was given thee by prophecy,
Go ahead.
with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery.
Go ahead.
Meditate upon these things.
Meditate upon what things? The reading, the exhortation, the doctrine. Go ahead.
Give thyself wholly to them.
He said what?
Give thyself wholly to
You
them.
want your gift to be, you want your gift to come to its full maturity, do what?
Give yourself wholly to them.
Y'all gotta study. It's so simple. Study. You want to know what your gifts are? You want your gift to mature? Study. Read. It says exhort. You can't exhort a person if you don't talk to a person. To exhort means to uplift others. Go ahead.
That thy profiting may appear to all.
What is profiting in you? Your gift, your talent. Other people are gonna see. You know what? Damn, that's a good brother. He got this talent. I want that. I want that from her. I want this. But think about it. The ones that don't study, just studying and praying. The ones that don't do that, what happens? They diminish. They rise for a moment, crash and burn, and then you don't hear about them. You're not saying, oh, I want that person's gift. You're like, what happened to that person? It's so simple. Study and deal with each other. Exhort each other and studying, reading, meditating on the right things. Right? You can you can add, let me just say this, you can add Ecclesiastes 13. What were you gonna say? 30.
You know, what you're saying is making me think about, you know, these best gifts, right? These best gifts on a person, just going back to an agricultural reference, is like this fruit growing, like this nice mango growing off a tree. And you gotta go to the tree to get it, right? But just because you pluck that mango off the tree and you're able to enjoy that mango, that don't mean you got mangoes now. You gotta take that mango, get the seed out of it, plant it, and then nourish that seed and help it grow before you can actually start having mangoes yourself.
The method.
The method.
Yeah. You gotta learn the method of how to grow mangoes. Yeah. You can add, we ain't gonna have time to go through it, Ecclesiastes 39 and 1 to about verse, because it goes into the meditation. He that giveth his mind to the meditation of the law. It goes through and it shows, like, it goes through and tells you, he'll show what type of man he is. You go from 39 and 1 down, he shall watch. You might as well just read it real quick. You might as well read it. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verse 1.
Read.
But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High,
Right.
and is acute in the meditation thereof,
Occupied.
occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies.
Go ahead.
He will keep the sayings of the renowned men,
All the things we read about in Ecclesiastes 6. Go ahead.
and where subtile parables he will be there also.
Go ahead.
He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables.
Right. Jump down. Jump down to 7.
Verse 7. He shall direct his counsel and knowledge, and in his secrets shall he meditate.
Verse 8.
He shall shew forth that which he hath learned, and shall glory in the law of the covenant of the Lord.
Verse 9.
Many shall commend his understanding.
Right. So, you see the point, right? The meditate, it says, meditate upon these things, give thyself wholly to them. It tells you the result of what to meditate on when you do. Well, you want to be a counselor? Well, you better meditate on these things. You want to get deep understanding? You better meditate on these things. You want to be a renowned man? You want to be great? Anything that y'all and everything that you guys name, this is where it's at. It starts with imprisoning yourself with wisdom, getting next to the ones that are going to be able to impart these gifts to you, and then nurturing said gift. Right? So jump back to Timothy's real quick. Let's finish it.
Verse 16.
16. And then go to Romans 12 and 6.
Take heed unto thyself.
Right?
And unto the doctrine.
Right?
Continue in them.
Do what?
Continue in them.
Why do people not nourish their gift? Go ahead.
Continue in
They
them.
don't continue. They get it for a little bit. Oh, I got this, I got that. Oh, I can read good now. I don't need the truth no more. Oh, Christ is black now. Guess what? I don't need the truth no more. Nah, you got to continue. Go ahead.
For in doing this, thou shalt both save thyself, and them that hear thee.
Romans 12 and 6.
Romans chapter 12, verse 6.
Go ahead.
Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us.
Go ahead.
Whether prophesy, let us prophesy.
Right, so what is it saying? If you're going to prophesy, then prophesy. Go ahead.
According to the preparation of faith,
right,
or ministering,
right,
let us wait on our ministry.
If you're going to be a minister, then minister. If you're going to be faithful, then be faithful. If you're going to be a follower, then be a follower. Do what's in you first. And then build from that, but don't complain. Oh, I'm just a follower. I'm just a minister. All I got is faith. Well, you better make sure you're doing those things. Nurture those things. Go ahead.
Or he that teaches on teaching.
Yeah, if you're going to teach, if you want to be a teacher, then meditate and focus on being a teacher. But what's the problem with Israel? I want to be a priest, right? I want to be a leader. I want to be this. I want to be that. But what are you giving your mind to? Not anything that has to do with leadership skills. Not anything that has to do with being an Israelite leader, right? You can't be upset if you're not a good cook and you don't practice cooking meals. Can you be upset? No, you can't be. You got to practice. You got to put yourself in those chains. Go ahead.
Or he that exhorteth on exhortation.
You see what it's telling us? To focus on your gift. Nurture it. Don't neglect it. Focus on it. Go ahead.
He that giveth, let him do it with simplicity.
Right.
He that ruleth with diligence.
Right.
He that sheweth mercy with cheerfulness.
Go ahead.
Let love be without
dissimulation.
Abhor that which is evil.
Covet the best gifts. Abhor that which is evil. Go ahead.
Cleave to that which is good.
Yeah, and that's what we got to do. That's how you realize your talent. That's how you keep that talent going. Any questions? So what is that? What do I got to work on? Huh? Did somebody say? Oh, okay. Thought somebody said something. Thought somebody was asking what they got to work on. No. Is that it? Any questions? I'm joking, man. I want to know. We'll talk. I gotta put y'all out
right now.
Yeah, you can talk. But
yeah.
That's it. I went a little bit over. Remember, Saturday is the feast. We are having class, right? Yeah, we are having class. But then afterwards, we will be getting together here at the school. Right. Here at the school. What time are we starting? On Saturday 9. We'll be starting at like 7 or 8. Yeah, right outside. We just start and then you know how it goes. Ball gets here, we pray, and then yeah. Right? So we'll announce the time like Saturday morning. But if that's it, I might be. We'll find out. Put on fries and face the peace.